how do you start a solo career? Where do you begin?
Is the question related to someone who's been in a band or someone that's starting from scratch?
All right, let's start. Let's try first someone who's starting from scratch.
Well, I mean, really, you start at the same place that a band does, other than you don't have three or four or five other people that are potentially there to help you out in the same capacity. So, in some senses, you might have, some multiplier of more work that you're going to have to do on your own. Now, we both know from our experience that most bands, not everyone in the band is, as effective as others. And that with some of the things that, we're talking about. But, as a solo artist, I think it really isn't terribly different from the strategies that we talk about as a band. Again, you got to take it back to the basics. Make sure you've got great songs. The best content that you are capable of. And the reason that I continue to reinforce that you are capable of is you got to get, nobody's just, well, many people aren't going to just be incredible songwriters out of the gates, right? But my best understanding of what I produce and an objective third parties or multiple objective third parties understanding of what I produce are two different things, right? I can think I just wrote the greatest song in the world. I can send it to my good friend Paul, and he says, actually, I've thought this previous song was far better, right? So it's knowing where that stands. If I get that feedback, again, as a solo artist or a band member, I can and should be able to go and put that into, what we're doing with the music and then put the best content out as possible. And then it's all the same things. You're trying to rely on anyone and everyone who's willing to help you, out of the gates to help build an audience and build a community, that attracts more people to pay attention to what it is you're doing.
I do wonder, from a band perspective, it's like you want to collect a handful of people, you jam, you maybe you gig a few times, and then you start thinking about how you're going to record. For a lot of solo artists, that is seemingly flipped, where they're going to start by just creating something recorded for themselves playing all the instruments or doing all the programming, whatever it takes, and then taking that to people who can help perform it live and take it out to the world. That sort of flip, is that consistent at all, or should a solo artist still try to stick to that idea of jamming some stuff out before they lay down some recordings?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's going to be almost on a case-by-case basis, but presumably to me, it all starts with the writing, getting it all done, and then taking it, to the public and to other members, as you're saying. That'd be the way that I would do it.
So what about starting a solo career as someone who's coming from a band that had perhaps some, maybe modest local success, that sort of thing, and now trying to do something solo?
Yeah, I mean, there you've got a little bit of an advantage because you presumably made some sort of name for yourself, or the local artist or national artist has a name. The challenge can always be, well, is it in the same style that the people that are fans of the band, is that what they, if you're a fan of a band because they play a certain style and you're taking a complete left turn, you're probably not going to get everybody to come over with you. But you're starting at a little bit higher than ground zero, which is a great place to be. And I think it's just about communicating clearly, kind of what you're doing, what the motivation is. Again, it all comes back to storytelling in these instances. What is the story that you're trying to tell, and don't mislead the people. Again, if you're taking a left turn genre-wise, that's okay. You just need to be clear and communicate that that's what you're doing and why you're doing that, and just have the expectation that maybe not everyone will come with you. But the positive side is you might get a whole slew of other people, that weren't fans of the band, but might have been fans of you, or coming on board, which is very exciting.
Yeah, you could be Skrillex or Elliott Smith, right? Coming from punk, and you turn something completely different, and most people don't even know about your punk roots. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.